Sorry.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Olympic. So it is a Tuesday night, which means usually you're here for. It's already going. It's Tuesday night, which means that usually it's Chandra Easton here with the class, as Chandra and not many other people call it, but we're working on it. We're trying to get that to catch on. But Chandra, as you know, has been teaching through a lot of other things going on lately. So she's going to be out for a little while this summer. And we are very lucky tonight to have Gena McCarthy here sitting in for Chandra. So Gena McCarthy is also from the Tara Mandala Sangha, just like Chandra. And she'll be doing her own spin, sitting in for Chandra. There's a few logistical things I want you to know going forward about the rest of the summer. We have Gena here tonight. The next 2 weeks are up in the air. We may have other subs, or we may do community sits. Were any of you at the community sit like 2 weeks ago? Wasn't it sweet? Yeah, it was really nice. We sat in a circle and someone volunteered to ring the bell and we just all sat together. So we may do that, or we may have other subs. Then we'll have Gena back with us for 2 more weeks, June 18th and 25th. And then after that, I am going to teach my annual beginner class for 6 weeks. So if you want to refresh on the basics, or if you have friends that are looking to start a practice or brush up on a practice, that will start on July 2nd, and that will run for 6 weeks. And then Chandra will be back. So that's the summer. If you have any questions about that, you can ask me or Hannah. And then the other logistical note, in case any of you haven't been here before, is that we are live streaming this to the internet. The internet is up there in the ceiling. Hello.
Should I look up?
No, you do not need to look up.
Okay.
Don't worry, they're used to not having eye contact.
Okay.
But importantly, if the sound doesn't go through a microphone, it doesn't go onto the internet. So we don't have room mics. We only have these mics. So if you want to ask a question and it's like a more sensitive question or a more vulnerable question, don't worry. Like, YouTube cannot hear you. They can only hear me and Gena. So get weird with your questions. That's what we're trying to say. You will get, if you've registered for this class tonight or literally ever on Eventbrite, you'll get an email with like logistical stuff for what's going to happen for the rest of the summer, sometime in the next week, just so, you know, everybody knows what's happening. So I, speaking personally, just hope that we all can take this opportunity over the summer with Chandra out to relax into Sangha and let the Sangha support itself, and really welcome the opportunity we have to learn from Gena and the other people who will be here over the summer. So without further ado,
Thank you,
Gena.
That's a beautiful wish to strengthen the Sangha amongst yourselves. It's powerful. I was telling Katie earlier, I've started a couple of local Bay Area Tara Mandala Sanghas, and wow, it's so nourishing to just be able to practice together and then share what has heart and meaning for you. And you develop so much care for each other, which we need. So, okay, let's do a little chanting, because I know that's what you're used to, and I love to chant, so that's fine. We'll do a little, like 11 chants. And I'm going to do the one on the back, Namah Shivaya, and I'll start it, and then just join me, and we'll do 11 more. So Om Namah Shivaya basically means give it up, let it go. And given how much change is going on, including I'm here, Chandra isn't, it seems like the perfect one for tonight. So I'll start it, and then you'll come back, and then we'll do it together. Okay, so Om Namah Shivaya. It's coming. And so we're letting it go. So you can hold that intention as you're doing it each time. Om together. Namah Shivaya. Om 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 Namah Shivaya. Okay, so now we'll get ready to sit and just get as comfortable as you like in whatever position you like. I'm going to set my timer, and so you'll hear this funny sound at the end of it. Okay. So let's start to arrive, and I invite you to feel your feet and to feel your seat, and then to feel the earth underneath you. The earth that the Ohlone people have cared for so many years here, including now. So feeling the earth underneath you and her support and her power and her dedication to balance, and feeling her under you and in you. And connecting, before we begin the shamatha, the breath meditation, connecting with all the loving wisdom beings that are here to support you right now in your practice, that are here appreciating your heart and your dedication to take care of yourself and thus take care of all of us by coming here tonight. And so taking a moment to connect with the loving wisdom support in your life that's here right now. That can be anything from Vajra Buddhist deities to your pets, your friends, your ancestors, your beloved ones, and all the loving wisdom beings. Maybe you have guides, connecting with them now. And then getting as comfortable as you like, we can begin our sit for the betterment of all beings with the heart intention that this not only benefits ourselves, but for all beings, knowing we're interconnected, we're completely interconnected, we're not separate. And so beginning to notice your breath beginning to come down into your body, letting go of your head for a while. We know it will arise again and again, and that's fine. But also shifting your attention more and your awareness to your body, beginning to feel your breath the way you're comfortable noticing it. Maybe you feel the air going in and out with your inhale and your exhale in your nose. Or maybe you feel it with your chest rising. Or maybe you feel it in your belly. Or maybe it's very, very subtle. That's okay. Little by little, you'll begin to feel it a little more as it comes regularly and dependably. No matter what you do, your breath is there, coming to support you and connect you. So take a few moments and begin to notice your breath. And as your mind begins to have thoughts and feelings of the day, that's okay. They can all be there, all the emotions, all the thoughts. And you're just letting your body breathe you. You're just noticing how your breath calls you back and you bring your awareness to it. And you notice what's that like to feel slowly and steadily your body calming, your mind calming, your heart mind calming and clearing. And you notice your breath again. And if you notice some very strong emotion or thought wandering going on, particularly feelings and sensations in your body, you can gently let go a little of the story, but stay with the energy. And if it's easy to come back to your breath, then just go ahead. And if it's not, then just let the energy be there, the strong emotion and sensation. And just let the energy know it can practice with you. It's just a part of you that's moving through. It doesn't have to go anywhere. It can just practice with you. And slowly it will move. It will release into presence. You can notice your posture gently, your shoulders relaxed, so that your heart is a little more open, your chest is a little more open. Your spine, like a stack of gold coins stacked on top of each other. Your neck, your chin, slightly pulled in. For some of you, you might want to open your eyes ever so slightly and have a very soft gaze. Others might want to just keep their eyes closed. And some of you who are accustomed to open eye meditation might open your eyes. It's all welcome. Gently remembering to notice how the breath is there, calling to you, magnetizing you, supporting you to let go of your attachments. And meeting your practice. Some teachers say, like meeting a lover, open, curious, aware. And being however you are. Let your breath invite you back into the moment. Maybe you're tired after the day, or maybe you're energized, or maybe you're agitated. All of it is welcome. Just letting it be, of course, being curious, interested, open, and coming back to the breath, allowing it all with spaciousness. Your whole body is aware. Your whole body is made out of awareness. As you come back to the breath, you can also open more and more to that awareness that's permeating your entire being. Your body is breathing you. Breath is breathing you. You might want to get in touch with the awareness in you that's aware of your breath. You might want to stay with your breath, or you might want to rest more in that awareness. And that awareness is part of all the awareness that is. Either way works just as well. And every little piece of information that comes through, it's just a little gift moving through. You just watch it come and you watch it go. Or as we said before, if it stays, if it's kind of sticky, you can just let it stay for a while you keep coming to the breath, building those muscles of letting go. Discovering by letting go how connected you are. Taking a moment to begin to come back to the room. And before we completely come back in a way that it has heart and meaning for you, offering any merit from this practice for the benefit of all beings. Thank you. I also want to take a moment while we're in this place of inviting everyone to, again, in your own way, just hold Chandra with your love and with your care and with your wishes for her health. She's had a hard time with her health. She's been challenged, and we know, this beautiful warrioress, but we can support her also by just sending our heart wishes for her health. So take a moment to do that. Our beautiful Chandra. Thank you. Good. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little about birth and Buddhism. I'm a perinatal psychotherapist and a nurse with a lot of shamanic training and about 20 years of being a student of Tibetan Buddhism. And I share it with you because there's so much in our culture and in our community that is disconnected and not supported around birth and around birth in your own lives, your own birth, your own coming into the world, and how that affects your practice and how that affects your lives. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And then I'm going to teach you a very simple somatic practice that supports you to feel safe in your body and cut through triggers. And you might already have a lot of tools like that. Oh, I heard my voice go up. And you might not. So this is a good tool. It is useful for most people. And then we'll have some questions and answers and a closing. So let's see. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I have seen amazing openings for people when they address their births with connecting practices. And I'm not talking to you tonight to say, and you should do that. I have no idea if it's useful for you or not. You'll know. I'm sharing this with you to raise your awareness more about the connections. So then if they arise for you, you'll be more empowered to address them. So if you think of throwing a pebble in a lake and how it ripples out, or if you think of a mandala and how the central pattern radiates out, that's how birth works in our entire lifetime. Because birth is our original template of all our psychological and spiritual, all our energetic, subtle body, prana, all our patterns of emerging into the world. And so I'll give you a little metaphorical story about a client of mine to clarify what that looks like. So she was a very talented therapist. She wanted to have a big conference, emerge more out into the world. She's very skilled. The only problem was she didn't want to be seen. So this was a problem. And so she had everything she needed except for that. So we did, there's many ways to heal or reconnect birth patterns. And there's many birth patterns. I'm just picking one to kind of kick it off, give you a little feeling of the energy of it. So she had a birth pattern where when she was born, her mother left immediately afterwards to go see her father who was having an operation. So right away there was that, oh, I'm being seen and it doesn't feel very good. The other thing was the mother had a very fast birth. Every birth where it's spirit embodying, right, and emerging, and precious human life, precious sacred life. So there she was emerging, but it wasn't feeling so safe and supported. That isn't always the case. So nothing I'm saying is dogmatic or universal. It's just different for each of us. So this woman, we did a little guided meditation, and that allows the part of us that is in our implicit memory, you can even think of it as the unconscious, and the part of us that remembers things to connect once you start to slow down the brain waves. And so meditation does that, guided meditation does that. So she started to feel supported. We created a guide. She started to feel supported and protected. She was in a cave, to come out of the womb cave, to come out of the cave. And so she started to feel the courage to do that, but still it didn't feel quite right. So she had a big heron over the cave's entrance so that when she came out, she wasn't overwhelmed by stimulus coming at her, but she could be empowered, have agency, and kind of see, what's out there and how do I feel about that, and finding my ground with it in my own rhythm and pace. And so that was the first session. So what happened for her then is she realized with her work, she didn't need to push herself out real fast and start this big conference. She could start to connect with people, make relationships step by step. She could do it in a more nourishing, connected way. So that's just like one example of how these things can work for us. So I think that's all I'll say about that for a moment. That's how much the template affects our whole life. Maybe bring in a little more, like you think about practice. Where is your edge with practice? Are you someone who has a busy mind? Are you someone who gets sleepy? And spacey? Are you someone who gets agitated and nothing's right? The cushion isn't right, nothing's right. So all of those patterns, they're of course, complex and coming from many places, but including past lives, if you believe in that, but they start in that original template. So knowing that, if and when it arises for you to connect something more in your own birth, if it's never useful to push or dig around or like, oh, I heard this lecture tonight, boy, I better get on that. But it's more like, is it arising for you? Is something clicking? It's a bell ringing. Then it's calling to you. Okay, now I'll tell you another piece of Buddhist perinatal psychology. Perinatal means before birth, birth, and after birth. So another piece is, I'm going to take a sip. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's so good for us as Buddhists to know that women, when they give birth, are physiologically designed to have an amazing experience. And that's not really known by most people. I see some of you do know it, which is great. Not generally known in this culture. So none of this information is to judge ourselves with, but there's something important that it's good to know so we can support each other and support ourselves to get the inner preparation if we are choosing to be a parent or to heal a birth if we didn't have that inner preparation and had a hard time, because all of that is going to help clear our field of practice, clear our field of relationships, clear our field of compassion for ourselves and each other. So the way the woman's body is designed is if she feels safe and cared for and respected, yeah. In giving birth now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, please don't be sorry.
Birthing body.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yay. Okay, so birthing body. That's great. I appreciate it. I'm 73, so I need all the help. Okay, so anyway, all right. So, yeah, so the birthing body is, but it does, well, anyway, all right. So it's,
Lactating body as well.
right, true.
A lactating body?
Yeah, right, right. Thank you. So, strongly suspecting you're a midwife. Anyway, anyway, so with the birthing body, what happens is, first of all, let's backtrack for a moment. So to find what I'm talking about, to feel safe, respected, and cared for, is happening in our world, but unfortunately, you probably know, not in the main culture. Many, many women are not receiving that yet. And then a lot of people who attend them haven't had the healing in themselves, so they're bringing baggage. And so the field doesn't necessarily feel safe, or someone doesn't necessarily feel respected. But it's possible, and that's also growing now. So, which is why I'm telling you this. So, okay, so as the birthing body begins to give birth, the brain waves start to slow down. And so just like in meditation, we can go from beta, where we're talking, to alpha. And then if we're really meditating, like on a 10-day retreat or something, or maybe we're a nun or a monk, we can go down to theta and delta. Well, the birthing body does all of that naturally. That's our physiology in birth. And so then when you go to theta and delta, gamma comes on. And when gamma comes on, that's when you experience bliss. And you experience your true nature. You experience your interconnectedness with everything. And so I've met people who've had that experience. And I had one contraction in my entire labor like that. But I'm grateful that it was 22 hours, but still I had one contraction like that. So I got to actually know that experience. And it was all golden light. And, I felt totally connected with everything. And it was very beautiful. So the point is, though, that this is what we're capable of as a being, is being embodied and then emerging out into the earth. The woman's body actually has the capacity to feel bliss, which then the birthing body, which then the baby is going to start to be surrounded by and can open to. And then the baby is at theta brainwaves anyway. So the baby's pretty blissed out anyway at times. It just depends on what's happening. It's all very individual. But so we see the potential of what's possible. So as Buddhists, this is something to really support and honor and treat as sacred. That was my second point. So I have a third point to tell you, which is that I just found this out from a Sangha sister recently. Vajrayana Buddhism has a lot of awareness about all of this that I didn't know. So there's two pieces of this. We know in America there's, I don't even know quite how to summarize it. There's a lot of disconnections. There's a lot of lack of honoring our rites of passages. And so So, but in Tibetan Buddhism, in the community in Tibet, there's a book on this called The Art of Tibetan Parenting. There was tremendous community connected with the spiritual practice. So in Tibet, in this book, you can read how if a woman got pregnant or even before she conceived, and there it would be more the woman, not the birthing body so much because it was more traditional, they, or whatever the right word is. So anyway, they would have prayers and rituals and ceremonies. So now you're having the combination of the spiritual practice and the community love and witnessing. I see you going through this enormous experience as a human being, this mind-blowing experience, and I recognize, okay, so that's on the one hand. Now on the other hand, Vajrayana Buddhism. So I think is anybody new tonight? Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, reality check. Well, so the other people who have been coming to Chandra's class, have you ever done any deity practice, any visualizing yourself as Tara? Great, okay. So that's a very common Vajrayana Buddhist practice. And so what happens normally, like let's say we're going to do a Tara practice and I'm going to visualize myself as Tara for the, so I'll be visualizing myself, experiencing myself as this loving wisdom, compassionate being, which of course, has a great effect on me and everything. And so it's a great practice. So the visualizations are always traditionally taught where the masculine and feminine energy come together. And so the way that's perceived is the lotus is the feminine, and then the moon disk or the sun disk that the deity is going to sit on is the masculine. So now they've come together, and then the seed syllable of the deity, because that's usually how the deity practice goes, like Tara's seed syllable is Tom. And so the seed syllable on the deity is considered the conception. And then actual manifesting of Tara is considered your lifetime. So I'm going to slow this down because I skipped a few steps. So when you set up that visualization, the teachings are, which Chandra might not have shared with you, and they're not that commonly taught. The teachings are that you're healing your past life, you're purifying your past life by bringing together the masculine and the feminine and creating that seed syllable. And then it goes on when you when the seed syllable happens, when you sound it, Tom, then you're purifying your womb birth in this lifetime. Whatever happened in this lifetime that encumbered you versus connected you, you're purifying that. And then when you become the deity, you're purifying your lifetime patterns. And then when you dissolve the deity, you're purifying your death in this lifetime. So it's a very beautiful practice, and it's a recognition of how important these patterns are. So I wanted to just kind of kick you off with that, bring the subject up. And now I want to give you a short somatic body practice. For some of you, this might have been triggering. For some of you, it might not have. For some of you, it might just bring up ideas and questions. And so noticing all of that, I'm going to teach you a quick somatic practice and then invite you to go into dyads for a few minutes to just share whatever came up for you, and then we'll do some Q&A. Okay. So the somatic calming practice is based on EMDR, which is a trauma healing practice. And it was developed by Laurel Parnell, who's a Tibetan Buddhist. And it's very simple. So you get in touch with a compassionate energy in your life. It could be a spiritual being, a deity. It could be a pet. It could be a friend. It could be a tree or an animal. Something where you don't feel judged at all and you really feel accepted and cared for. So take a moment, and it could be a tree, and just get in touch with what that energy is for you. Okay. Okay, so what you're going to do when we start, which will be in a few minutes, is you'll be tapping your legs bilaterally about 10 or 12 times or 20 times to connect with that compassionate energy for you the way you are right now. You're not trying to change how you are. So however you are is fine. And the other thing is, you're not doing it to process, which you can process on bilateral stimulation. You're only doing it to calm your body energy. It's particularly useful if you get triggered by something. And so now you know the rules, so now we'll practice it. So just get in touch for a moment with this compassionate energy for you, and then begin to connect with it and begin to tap back and forth 10 or 20 times. Then stop and notice how your body feels, and then come back to the room. So take a moment and notice how your body feels after you do it. And then let's do a little popcorn feedback just to see how that was for people. Did anybody notice any changes in their body energy? What did you notice? Thank you. Safe. Beautiful.
Like peaceful, but it's like seems even more than peaceful. Like I don't have the right word for it, but it's just very, very calm. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Great. It works for most people. Anybody else? Yeah.
Kind of all pulled to the center,
Uh-huh.
and like kind of felt like a rising sensation.
Interesting. So did that feel more grounding or agitating, or what did, how did?
Very calm.
Great. Great. Thank you. Okay, good. Yeah.
I just wanted to add, as an EMDR practitioner myself, that it's important to not do it if you get out of that positive state.
I can't hear you, sweetie.
It's
Important not
it's
to.
important not to continue with the task
Right,
if
right.
it turns into a negative, because you don't want to
Right,
that negative.
right. Processing or negative. Thank you. That makes it even stronger. Thank you. Yeah, good. Good. Okay, you got a new tool. So, okay, good. All right. So let's do dyads about 5 minutes each, and just sharing. If you don't have anything that came up from what I shared tonight, share a little about whatever connections you do have with your own birth, if you want to, or anything about that kind of material. And so maybe 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Continue, continue. And if there's an extra person, I'll dyad with them. Okay.
5 minutes each or
5 minutes, 5 minutes each, and I'll set the time. All right. So, Okay. If there's, if, yeah, I think you're my partner. Hi. Oh, I'm going to turn this off. Okay. Oh, here we go. Time to switch. Looks like
gender expressions based on your feelings, how you're
It sounds so beautiful. I'm going to do it two more times. One more time. I'm just doing it for the beauty of the sound. Okay. So I was happy to see you all talking. So it sounded like maybe it was alive for you. Good. So I'd love to hear sharings. I'd love to hear questions. Please be brave and talk. Mm. And I don't really, let me just ask Hannah something. And thank you so much. And please say your names. But Hannah, should we give people microphones or not? I don't know what, because of Zoom.
Yeah, we could pass around microphones.
Okay,
But if they don't want to be on the internet, they don't accept the microphone.
perfect.
Say their
Thank
names,
you.
so they don't have to be revealed.
Great. Thank
It's
you.
my thought. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Katie said.
Okay, I'll grab it if someone wants.
We have a lot of helpers in the group. It's good.
Probably not. Okay, cool.
Okay.
My name is Megan.
Hi.
That it did come up for me, that first talk. I've never really thought about how
Sure.
it could play into my life, but it makes me so curious now. You know, I'm a twin. There's complications with the birth, and
Yeah.
so it makes me really interested to see how could that have played out in my life.
Yeah.
You know, what wounds might still be playing out in an interesting way.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking with Jeff, we dyaded, and it reminded me of something I didn't really say earlier, which is one of the reasons I love this work and have a passion to share and teach about it, is it's profoundly healing when you do birth work. It's like if you have done an assisted psilocybin journey or something that really gives you a large shift of growth in your life, birth work does that. It's very liberating. So there is that side of it, which I affirm. In terms of, I think it's great now. You're a little more open, curious. So you'll see more patterns. You'll start to notice things and the roots of them. And then there's a lot of community resources, including myself, that does healing work around that. And then there's also, and I'm also happy to refer people. You should all feel free to ask questions or whatever if you have them after tonight. But also, sometimes you can reconnect things easily. It's not always hard. Certainly, even just through your practice, mindfulness, you see things. So just having that perspective, I think, will open up a path for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've worked with twins before. There's a lot of wonderful information. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, do you want to go?
What's your name?
Oh, my name's Maribel.
Maribel.
Maridel.
Hi, Maribel.
So I thought a lot about my mom, and I was her first child, and then she had a very traumatic birth experience with my sister, who was basically a botched home birth. Had hip dysplasia or whatever. Her shoulder was caught in.
Shoulder dystocia.
Thank you. Shoulder dystocia and severely disabled because of that.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. And the next birth was a C-section, and the next birth was a VBAC.
Right,
So just had like all of these different
right.
births, and I thought, and I think about how my siblings and I turned out, and I was her best birth, and my little brother, the VBAC, probably the next good.
Yeah.
And it's just, when I think about how we all turned out, it is like I feel welcome. I feel like I can speak up. I moved to California when I was 17 and lived my life, have a career and a family, and everybody else is kind of like, no. I don't know. Like
Oh,
yeah.
well, what I'm hearing, and that was another story I was going to tell tonight. It always helps to talk with people. So, it's people also have wonderful experiences, right? People, can you hear me?
Yeah.
People also have wonderful birth
Yeah,
experiences.
I feel like I had my mom and I. That was like the best thing we did together.
Exactly.
And then everything else kind of was like got worse. And so I feel like that was good.
It was good, and I want to,
You were your best.
Marydale,
We
you-
had the best.
you have that beautiful template that's serving you
So much gratitude for that.
in this lifetime.
Yeah, and a lot of gratitude for her. And I have 2 kids, and they were both, C-sections after full labor, and then they went into heart decel and tried to help them at home. Nothing was happening for 2 days, and went to the hospital and went into like full labor because my body just didn't feel safe. I think at home.
Right.
Anyway, blah blah blah. But yeah, it's just.
So, do you mind if I give you a little more feedback?
Sure, please.
Okay, so you brought up a lot of there's a lot you brought up. So, first of all, something that might be useful for you or not would be to bring so much compassion to yourself, literally, like you could do it with the tapping or whatever, guided meditation, so much compassion to yourself that you didn't feel safe at home. And then we can say the obvious, of course you didn't feel safe at home because of that tragedy that happened with your mother's second child. Okay, so that could be useful or not, depending, on how it sits in you. And then another thing is that wonderful positive template you have. So yeah, if you have a positive template, it's just like if you have a hard template, it's in your unconscious. And then if you connect with it, which you kind of are, then it's this incredible resource in your life. For example, when I taught a birth professional class, and this doula had a child, and then she had a miscarriage. And then we did a guided meditation back to her conception. And her childhood had been very harsh. She had felt very neglected and abandoned. Her parents were poor, working hard, and she didn't get much attention, somewhat extremely. But at the conception, she saw that her parents loved each other. And that became conscious now. And that became this incredible resource for her. And then she had her second child. And she felt open to move forward. So your positive template is I so appreciate you sharing that. Thank you. I appreciate everything you shared.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Listening. And I'm also a somatic psychotherapist. I do EMDR. So
Are you all sorry? I'm in a room. Okay. So Jeff is. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kat.
Hi, Kat.
From what I know, my mother was fairly healthy and had, no epidural at a hospital, fairly uneventful. But I do know that my father was like a little bit scattered and running around that day. I don't have a great relationship with him. So I'm just wondering, what role does the other parent play
Yeah,
in the birth, if at all?
yeah. Everybody plays a role. Everybody's important. All the energy is important. So, and it's different for each of us. And then our lifetime, the way it colludes with it or doesn't. And so, you could go back with support from someone or not, and just kind of get in touch with how that felt, as a baby, to not have to be having him running around versus there for you. And you could see if you had feelings. And if you had feelings, then you could bring compassion to those feelings to feel more complete. That's like a simple practice. And then you can also do, EMDR, other things that would support you there too.
I'm curious about this positive template. I want to learn more about it.
I didn't hear, the positive.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
How would you call resource to that?
Yeah. You mean like you had a very positive birth experience, it sounds like, with your mom?
It sounds like it was bad.
No, yeah, it sounds like it was very smooth. There was no epidural. You don't really know the whole story. So I'm going to be quiet for a moment. Let me just feel this. Yeah, I see that. Okay, I need another moment. I think, we all have to listen to our truth about the level of support we need. So some of us can do a lot of inner work on our own, and some of us benefit from doing inner work with support. So you'll know what's right for you. So then, your birth experience, the positive birth experience, it feels to me like you don't know the whole story. So, and I don't know, like, one thing that would give you a hint is when you think of birth or you think of giving birth, how do you feel? So if you feel like, oh yeah, that was slam dunk, let's do it, then that's kind of a hint. Yeah, it really was that smooth. If you think of birth and you're like, then it could have been a more complicated picture that your mother didn't share everything with you. So, so I think, like I said earlier in the evening, it's an important theme here. We're not digging around, but we're noticing, what's calling to us. Like you're noticing, I'd like to strengthen these positive resources if I have them. So then maybe going deeper and noticing, do they really feel positive? And then if they really do feel positive, then you could kind of go back with yourself or with someone else in a guided meditation and kind of feel yourself as a baby feeling all of that positivity. And then it's really going to be more in your body after that, because you've done it in that slower brainwave meditative way.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. These are great questions. Yeah.
Can I add a little bit?
Yeah, Marydale.
What comes up for me is I wonder, because when we're babies and we're being born, we're not really that separate from the birthing parent. Right? We're so, enmeshed.
Okay, so
Not in a bad way, but like just so connected.
So let's pause for a moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's tremendous amount of connection, but we're completely separate souls.
Yes.
And so the baby's experience and the mother's experience can be very different, or they can be the same. Even though I know what you're saying.
Impact each other, right?
Tremendously,
They
yeah,
impact each other.
tremendously.
Yeah. So what came up for me when I was listening to Kat was I wonder how your mama felt dad being up there,
Mhm.
right? And like, how does that impact your experience of that, and vice versa, right? Like, so that's all.
Thank you.
Yeah, because that can be all in there, along with your experience and the mythology of your family, of the story that was told.
Yeah, I think it laid a blueprint for what was to come, or somehow.
I can't hear you.
I was saying it definitely was indicative of some things to come.
Yeah.
Where my mom was like good, she was good.
Yeah.
You know,
Solid.
she was solid. My dad, not really.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the template. That's the
Yeah.
lineage, right? That's the lineage.
Thank you. Both of you. Yeah. 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 What's your name?
Oh, I'm Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
I'm not a doula, but my mother's a lactation consultant.
Okay.
So I grew up around breasts and I've had to kind of educate my mother about new language.
Yeah. Great.
Because, it's like if you spend 40 years calling a certain somebody, it can be hard to transition.
It is.
And being gentle with folks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would go around to like people when I was like 10. I was like, "Are you gonna breastfeed?" And I'm in the medical field myself. So, but I was gonna ask is, what are some good prompts if we want to do our own inner work?
Yeah.
Around this, what are some good inquiries to either kind of go back to, because there's the mythology, what is told to us, and then there's our own maybe unconscious memories that might feel like impossible to access, or even more possible than we realize. So I'm just curious, like a few kind of like meditations or inquiry.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great question. Well, I mean, I think something you can notice is how your energy is in the present. And like I was talking earlier about the encumbered states, are you the kind of person that spaces out? Are you the kind of person that gets anxious, or gets angry, kind of, or freezes or fawns? What is your kind of style of when things are hard, And then as you see that, you might just imagine yourself as a baby and giving your baby self support for those states. Oh, it's okay, you're anxious, or oh, you're spacing out, you're safe, that's all right, you can space out, I'm here. So there's that kind of practice that can be very nourishing. And also, especially if it works for you, then you're hitting something. I'm going to take another moment because of these good questions. I was thinking what called me. I had panic attacks when I got pregnant because my mother and I had such a traumatic birth experience when I was being born into the world. And I wanted to be a mother. So we all have, I'd say, different patterns. If something's calling, and then, so I was called to find healing and learn about healing and then share it. If something's calling you, in our time, we're beginning to come to a close for tonight. And then you're finding resistance. That's going to be a good way to go in. And then again, you can do that with yourself or do that with someone else. And another thing I'll mention, though I'm not going to offer one for a little while, is I offer retreats called Honoring and Clearing the Mother Path. And the next time I come, which either is going to be this month or June 18th, that's a little bit up in the air, I'll talk about Buddhism and the maternal lineage in our ancestors. So I want to thank all of you. This has been this has been very precious for me because you're teaching me how to bring this out more to be useful to people. It's tender and if it's evocative for people. And if anyone did find it uncomfortable or anything like that, you can give me feedback. You can give Hannah feedback or Katie or anybody here so that things can continue to serve you in a good way. Okay, so let's take a moment to complete now. So let's just go back into our meditative place for a moment. And if you want, you can put your hands on your heart to just appreciate yourselves for your openness and for being on the path, for walking this path of growing compassionate awareness in our world and in yourselves. And I look forward to seeing you again. And thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you. Good night. Sweet, sweet dreams. Hi. You look so familiar. What's your name? Kate. What?
That's my family.
Yeah.
But I know Chandra.
Oh.